Great guy, some might say, but like I'm not too much. Anyway, what he's, I don't fuck with him too much. But that being said, could be the best guy on the whole entire world. I fucking ain't my guy, you know.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know who's B, it's your girl Kalybriah coming at you with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind Season 9, Episodes 7 through 9. So, basically, Episode 7 was basically the last days in Mexico. We basically come after this whole situation with Joe and Madison. Joe, obviously, he was very intoxicated at the party. He went to go sleep. Madison comes after the party, tries to like wake him up. He's still out of it. He's like confused, asking her a bunch of questions, you know. Then she just feels like down in tears and just basically kind of over it, a little drunk or whatever. And he's just in bed. She's outside crying. He doesn't comfort her, da-da-da. She's like breaking down that this is happening to her, da-da-da-da. So it's just kind of like, you know, situations. So she decides to sleep somewhere else, basically, and kind of have like a very much a rocky road. Edmund and KB basically and him kind of squashed it, but she's still kind of like thinking about the whole situation in the back of her head, basically how he's, you know, acting about her basically waiting till marriage for them to, you know, cross that, you know, next boundary. So, you know, she just like, you know what, it happened, but let's move on. You know, I feel like that should have been like this warning sign for you, KB. But after that has happened, you know, Nick and Annie seem to be going pretty well. Anton and Eleni seem to be going pretty well. Jordan and Megan now, I guess Megan was very annoyed by Jordan after what happened at the party. So basically she kind of like let him know like, yeah, you're annoying me. But Jordan's basically a funny guy, so he kind of like used humor and stuff like that. And basically, you know, it was kind of squashed in minutes. They have like another meetup again, and basically all the couples with the exception of Anton and Eleni and, you know, Nick and Annie basically were like, oh, we all had tiffs last night, da-da-da-da. Like everybody was like having tiffs. Like Jordan basically was like being sarcastic about his tiff with Megan. You know, Madison, she was just like, oh, we basically made up and, you know, we got back together, da-da-da-da. And like she was just so happy about that. I'm just like, all right, Madison, like you still was about to leave this man high and dry. Everybody was just like talking about their tiffs and stuff like that. Madison basically was like, oh, let's front load the conflict so we don't like wait down to the, you know, altar to have this conflict situation. Which I'm just like, you're supposed to have like a honeymoon season. You're not really supposed to have a bunch of conflict, you know, or ready to leave the guy, you know, early on. But you know, it is what it is. Since it's like a very speed up process, you know, it is what it is. Nick and Annie, they were packing, and I guess Nick was basically like, oh, the guys, like, we all asked the guys and, you know, said, like, if we were to get married right now, would we say yes? And they were all like, I don't know. I'm not sure. So he told that to Annie. Annie's like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I know that I'm all for you, whatever. So Nick he's just like, you know what, he's still trying to take it day by day. You know, he's still like, you know, processing whatever. But like he's telling this to Annie, and Annie's just like, that's not what I want to hear. Like, and then she started saying like, oh, I don't need you. Like, I want to be with you, but I don't need to be with you. Like, you don't have to be in my life, but I would like you to be, like, you know, she was saying that, but I'm just like, I feel like what she's saying is right. You know, she doesn't need Nick, but I guess saying that out of frustration is not really like, you're not hitting your target right there, because he's just like, what do I do with this information? Because like same way he doesn't need her either. Like he could be by himself as well or find somebody else. Just like, you know, you saying you want him. She's basically saying like she wants Nick to want her just like how she wants him. And I guess he's basically telling her like, yeah, he still likes her and whatever, loves her, whatever, but he's just not at that same point yet. He's just not there. You know, he doesn't know if he's gonna say yes. So I guess she's a little bit frustrated by that. So they were just kind of like having a tiff about it. And I guess like at the end of the argument or whatever, she tried to say like, oh, this is what you said. And he's like, I never said that. And I guess he got really turned off by it. So then when he get to Denver, like, because everybody went to Denver and everything, he basically was like, you know what, like, you know, she apologized for like putting words in his mouth, and he's like, yeah, you know, that kind of like sent me back like all the way down the hill. Like, if we have another situation like that, I'm kind of like out of it. I'm just like, oh snap. He's like, if you like do that again, I mean, you know, if there's another conflict in these 4 weeks, these 3 weeks really, he's probably like gonna be over it. Which I'm just like, whatever. Anton and Alini, you know, they both worked the night shift, so I guess the first night when they came back, you know, he had like champagne for breakfast with like steak and eggs or whatever. And I guess, you know, Alini was just like, you know what, she doesn't really drink because she has to go to work. And then she also like said something about like, you know, how she's gonna go to school again. So when she went to school and she lived with her parents basically had everything covered. She didn't do nothing. Like, she didn't wash, clean, nothing, pay bills, whatever. Her parents had that whole handled. So she's like, oh, something about having a joint account plus 2 separates. So I guess I'm just like, what's the point of the separates if, you know, you're not putting money in? Because I can understand, like, okay, have a joint for the family and then you have your own money in yours, but just like, is he gonna be putting money in her account for her? So it's like he's basically facilitating the whole thing. I mean, yeah, but it's just like, she's like, oh, I don't want you to know how much I spent on Botox. So I'm just like, she wants him to not only, I guess, cook, clean, pay rent, and, you know, still pay for her Botox, which, I mean, sure, fine. But I'm like, okay, like, you know, something, like, you gotta do the help me. You gotta be the something, like, I don't know, like, granted, you have all the responsibilities, but, like, okay, when he comes up from the night shift because you're doing school all day, I would expect, like, you can do something to, like, you know, show that you appreciate him, too. Because, I mean, you know, it's either, you know, words of affirmation, you know, gift giving, acts of service, something, you know, that maybe he would like, whatever his love language is, you know, that he would appreciate you do, because it's just like, she's just trying to like see like, okay, he's a sugar daddy, you know, essentially for her, like she gets everything, and like, you know, I don't know what else is she's doing for him. I don't know. You gotta understand, like, you gotta meet in the middle. You gotta meet in the middle some way. I mean, I don't know if this is a marriage, you know, something like that. So then we get back to Jordan and Megan. So they're basically talking about this whole Luca situation. Luca, you know, obviously he's 5. He obviously lives with his mother. Like, him and, like, Jordan and the mother, they split Luca 50-50, like, he has him, she has him, whatever. So Megan meeting Luca, Megan meeting the mother of Luca, and stuff like that. Are they gonna do it on camera, off camera, whatever? Because you, like, obviously Jordan's not gonna, like, you know, let his son meet just anybody, you know. And he's basically like talking about how he's gonna like discuss it with the mother, like, okay, you know, he has a fiance now, you know, can she meet him, can, like, whatever, things like that. So Megan's just kind of like being like, this is a lot. Like, she doesn't have kids herself, so it's kind of like, it's a lot being like in a blended family, especially that, okay, Luca has a half sister, so the thought of her even moving out of Denver, Colorado can't be if she wants to be with Jordan, because Jordan has to be in Denver, Colorado because of his son, and like, obviously he doesn't want to split his son up from, you know, his sister and his family and his mother and things like that, which, I mean, that's understandable because, you know, especially with everything that he's going through with the type 1 diabetes. So that's what they're going through. Edmund and KB, you know, family and friends were meeting each other this episode 8. So we meet Edmund's mother. So tell me why Edmund's mother came in and she was just like, you know, they having a little one-on-one chat. And basically she was like, you know, I guess Edmund sent KB's Instagram to, you know, his mother. And she was like, once I saw the Instagram, yeah, I was a no. Like, like, you know, I sent it to my sister too. And she was like, yeah, no. Then, she was like, okay, based on KB's first impression, you know, Kalybriah's first impression, you know, she's a really sweet girl, like, you only have one chance to make a first impression, and, you know, she passed the test. KB passed the test. So, you know, she was just basically talking to KB, basically saying, like, you know, she has 4 sons, and I guess they've all been married or whatever. So, you know, talking about that and stuff like that. I'm just saying, though, We have Edmund talking about he was raised in foster care, okay? Then you come out the blue talking about, oh, you raise your 4 kids. I don't know about that. Edmund's mother. Because I'm just like, if you raise all of them, why Edmund act like that? Why Edmund act like that? Then you talk about how, Edmund had these nice ladies. Okay, if he had these nice ladies, why these nice ladies didn't come and marry him? Or, you don't want to be with him anymore? Because I'm like, if all these nice ladies before Kalybriah said yes to him, why they not with him anymore? Why they not circling the block to be with Edmund anymore? Like, let's talk good talk, alright? I guess after foster care, obviously, he reunited with his mother and stuff like that. And I'm just like, okay, what about his brothers? Like, can his brothers, his brother's married and everything. Why can't his brothers basically talk to Edmund and be like, okay, what are you doing, bro? Like, hello? Like, tighten up. Like, I don't know. You got 4 brothers and your 4 brothers can, teach you a little something. Like, I don't know what's going on with Edmund. But basically, she talking about Kalybriah. She said, her first impression of Kalybriah was nice. She's going to give her some beads, let Edmund put them on her or whatever. I mean, I guess. It is what it is. You kind of put 2 and 2, like, okay, this is why Edwin like this. But anyhow, we get to Anton and Alini's. Basically, they just met Anton's friend. Basically, the friend Joe was, his actual real friend. Because the girl, Melissa, only been with his friend for 4 months, so she really don't know much about Anton, to be real and honest though. Don't know much. So they're talking, and I guess basically the friend basically spilled that Anton and him used to work at McDonald's, and then they used to close up McDonald's to go drink. Well, I'm just like, dude, after the first meeting, you're gonna basically spill secrets like that, and then especially it's coming on to national TV. So that's messed up. Because now, Alini said, okay, now the manager's gonna think about, oh, you drinking. I made you manager and you was drinking on duty, essentially. So then the girls went to the bathroom and Melissa basically was talking about how, oh, do you know that Anton and Joe, they used to go clubbing and to the clubs and things like that, and drink or whatever, something like that, when they were single. I'm like, girl, you basically took up the same friend, the same guy that hangs out with Anton. After the first day, you let him live with you, okay? And if you're talking about they used to do it together and go to the clubs together and whatever when they were single, now you have him in a committed relationship, whatever. So why are you bringing this up now? Because I'm like, if he stopped going to the clubs because he's with you now, why are you bringing this up? Because that's kind of messy though. Because I can understand if that's you were just a friend of Anton and not his friend's girlfriend of 4 months, but you being messy. And he's like, oh, they do it together, blah blah blah. So then that turned Alini off, because it's just like, oh, you went to strip clubs, that's not something I would like. But I'm like, that kind of messed up the thing, because the vibe, now she kind of turned off of Anton. She's like, okay, we gotta talk about this later. So basically, she's like, I don't know. She's like, Alina's basically saying in the next episode 9, how she was telling the girls how, I don't know if I would like my, husband to do that or have a past like that. And then she also talks about how Anton, I guess every morning after work, he always drinks. I'm just like, maybe discuss that with him instead of discussing that with, the other girls. I don't know, to let him know, oh, can you ease up about drinking alcohol every morning? I mean, granted, they basically said, well, he works at night, so obviously he can't drink alcohol at night. I would say, him drinking alcohol or a beer in the morning is basically the equivalent to somebody coming home from their 9 to 5 and drinking a wine at night. So I'm guessing, because they work overnight, that's the only time they can do so. I mean, I guess for her preference, she doesn't like that. But I'm like, maybe you should have a conversation with Anton, basically say, okay, can you ease up on your drinking? Maybe you don't need a beer every morning, da-da-da-da. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how hard his work is, whatever. But, especially if he's going to be the breadwinner, on all aspects of all friends when you guys get married, I think he's going to need a couple more beers every morning after he comes home from work, because he's going to be stressed. But I feel like she should have probably talked about it with him a little bit more, because later on that night, she's like, he's saying okay, all the guys are asking about the relationship, and he's like, there's really nothing much, and she's like, oh, I told the truth. I mean, well, what's all the drinking, and then you basically feeling worried because a girlfriend of your friend basically said, oh, you guys went to strip club. And that was when he was single. I mean, he was single. Like, at the end of the day, it's not like he was cheating on a girl and going to strip clubs. He was single, like a Pringle. Like, I mean, he could do whatever. I mean, that's in his past. If he's real, like, you're saying, oh, you don't know how serious he is about getting married, if that's what he did. I mean, if he used to do that with his friend, and his friend's now in a committed relationship, I don't know. But we'll have to see, whatever. Then we get to, Nick and Annie. You know, we're getting to, like, all the pod couples or pod people coming into episode 9. And basically, you know, Nick, he basically apologizes to Kate, says, like, he's apologized, sorry, whatever, for, like, the whole I love you debacle, whatever. And, you know, she kind of, like, took the apology, but then she went up to Madison and told Madison, like, yeah, he's fake. And Madison and, like, Kate were, I guess, besties in the pods. So then I didn't know Joe didn't like Nick at all, but Joe was, like, rooting for Brendan and Annie for some reason. But the funny thing is that Jordan, he straight up told Brendan, like, yeah, once I saw Nick and Annie clicked. Like, it makes like, you guys, your vibes are totally off. Nick and Annie's are very, like, yeah, compatible. He's like, just forget her. Like, just forget about it, because they work better. Even though he might not like Nick, he can see, like, okay, they look better together than you and Nick. And he's like, oh, really? Are you sure? So then you got Joe over here dissing Nick right up in his face. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, nobody likes Nick. I don't know what Nick did personally besides what Kate said, because Alina's talking about, oh, you know, from Kate's perspective. I mean, granted, he did tell her he loved her and then took it back. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he picked who he picked. It is what it is. I mean, we can't really be, you know, sorry about what happened, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, if it's a front or not, I mean, because to be honest, he's not even that all in with Annie anyways. He's basically telling Annie, like, yeah, I'm just still working up with you. Like, I'm not even all in. Annie's over here, like, head over heels about this man, to the point that she's like, yeah, you're perfect. She said that in front of Edmund. Edmund now turns in like, oh, that would be perfect to hear. Like, I wish somebody would told me that. So then Kalybriah over here to the side, like, what would be perfect? What would be perfect for you to hear? Like, so she's like, oh, you got these people thinking that I don't, like, you know, affirm you, things like that. I don't tell you nice things. So you, like, making a show in front of, like, everybody, and Kalybriah's like, you wanted to do this here for what? We live together. You could have told me that at the house. You don't have to come out here and embarrass me in front of people and then think things are sweet. Which I'm like, yeah, he could have told her at the house. Like, why you wait till they out in public to be like, oh, I wish somebody would have told me this. Like, you could have been like, oh, hey, Kalybriah, like, you know, words of affirmation, things like that. I would like you to do that for me, Like, maybe, you know, have that chalk, be like a one-on-one. Then he tried to cut her off and be like, oh, you're gonna walk away, So she was kind of over Edmund at this point. I mean, over him. So, because, like, he really tried to play in her face, and then he wanted to act like he's, like, you know, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, I'm like, dude, you basically try to play in her face and try to, like, hide your hands. So then we're going to talk about this Joe and Madison once again, because the thing is that you got Joe and Madison basically on Team Kate. But mind you, Madison took her ring off before meeting Joe's family and basically was like, you know, put this on ice, because they had an argument. Because Joe's basically saying, like, you know, don't you think it's crazy how fast you're moving, Like, you know, like, try to, like, basically say how he's feeling. Basically, like, you know, it's kind of crazy. He's kind of moving too fast, He's kind of nervous, And I guess she's just like, you know what? She got so mad at him, took off the ring, basically, like, you know, put it on ice. And I'm like, this is the second fight in the past, less than 2 weeks you had before the wedding. Then you met his family, put it back on. They're like, oh, we're all lovey-dovey. Like, I really like him, whatever. Then you try to play like you guys perfect. Like, girl, Joe, we're about to leave you at the altar. Come preview time. She's about to leave you at the altar, so let's play. Let's talk about, you know, Jordan and Megan. Like, you know, Megan, she's going to sell her $1.5 million home and use that money to buy a new home in Denver. But the thing is that Jordan's like, yeah, I don't want you to just basically spend everything for this new house. I want to actually chip in and, like, basically do 50-50 or basically contribute. He doesn't want to mooch off of her, and I feel like that's very respectable, because I'm like, he could, because the fact that she doesn't even care, he could really mooch off of her, but it's just like, the fact that he wants to, like, you know, be a provider, have that responsibility of being a man, and, like, you know, at least pay for something, or even chip in or do 50-50 or whatever on the house that they're going to live together as a married couple, you know. Like, let's do within his means. Like, he might not be a billionaire or a millionaire now, but he still wants to provide or whatever. And I feel like that's very respectable for Jordan. Megan, she does talk to what's it called, Michael, and Michael, he basically was just like apologizing for like up and leaving that one episode, when he was trying to basically force her hand to like pick him over Jordan. And I guess she's just like, yeah, if you're gonna up and leave me in the pods, how are you gonna do that in the real world? So I mean, I guess that kind of forced her to like, made her decision pretty clear, like, oh, Jordan's probably the right guy for her. So they had a little chat, basically didn't go anywhere. And then Patrick and Anna shows up to this like rodeo situation. Patrick shows up too. Patrick, he basically explains how Casey did him dirty, and Casey definitely did him dirty. The fact that Casey didn't even wait a whole night before dumping him is crazy. Then she told him that, tell the other people that, oh, we're just broken up, but we're like working things out. He basically said that she didn't even sleep on him. She just saw his face and was like, yeah, no. That's crazy. And like everybody was like, yeah, that's messed up, because she really came on Love is Blind, and I guess she saw, yeah, love is definitely not blind for her. Then he saw Anna, he talked to Anna, he basically said like, if you didn't leave, I would have picked her. And the thing is that Anna tried to say like, oh, but you still engaged to Casey though. My thing is that I guess Patrick, he went on a mission. He had his top two, which was Anna and Casey. Anna left, so he basically went to his last resort, his option. He made a decision that these are his top two picks. So out of his top two picks, it was going to be Anna first. Since Anna left, he picked Casey. I don't really fault him for proposing to Casey. Granted, it was the wrong decision to do at the end of the day, but if just like how she had her top two decisions and she could have either went with Patrick or Blake, that's what he did. I mean, granted, he did propose to somebody else, but just like season 4 of Bliss and Zach realized real quick he made the wrong decision. He got with Bliss, and the rest is history. They're together now, have a child together, so I'm just like, you can't really fault Patrick for taking his second option. That's really is what he said, his second option, getting engaged to her. Obviously it flopped, but like, you can't really fault him, because at the end of the day, that was his option, his last option, other than her. She was like, oh, well, you can't say I was your number one. Okay, what did you want him to do? Because you left, you wanted him to pull a Blake and leave too? I mean, granted, Blake only got along with Anna anyhow, so after Anna left, he dipped, and he didn't even show up to the rodeo thing. He just like, yeah, no. So I'm just like, I don't really fault Patrick for proposing to Casey, because I mean, he went on a mission. He had two people that he thought would be his potential wives. I mean, I guess since Anna was out the option, he picked her. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But anyway, guys, this was episode 7 to 9 of Love is Blind season 9. And if you guys like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments, concerns. You guys subscribe to my channel, subscribe. Anything you guys watching this video, peace.